But let's talk about a couple of disadvantages as well. First of all, it is, as we said before, kind of an unconventional style home, which means that if you're facing some restrictions in an HOA or a neighborhood or some kind of city zoning rules, they may not. I've seen them where they said you can't have more than 25% of the exterior in steel. So, it's gonna raise your cost, so that steel cladding is fairly simple to install. It's gonna be cheaper than masonry, right? Or some other kind of material typically. So that's a slight disadvantage depending on your zoning restrictions. There are other disadvantages too to consider, like constructability. So take a second with me here just to come look over at this cladding here near me. This material is known as R-panel. And R-panel has a large rib that provides strength so that when I lift this sheet up, which is actually relatively thin, it doesn't fold on itself because of that rib. That rib makes it strong. So imagine if you take aluminum foil and you hold it out, it flops over. But imagine if you crease it in the center and then pick it up, it's probably going to support its own weight. So these ribs do that. There's a problem when you're installing things like windows and doors with these ribs. When I cut into this here, there's going to be a giant gaping hole running straight down into my room. And so there are ways that you can mitigate that, but not a lot of people, including builders, unfortunately, see that going into the project, which means that the minute that you get that first rain, you're going to see water on the floor. Can you mitigate it? Yes. There are some simple things. There are some slightly more expensive things you can do, but your builder needs to be aware of that. So there's some constructability issues that don't come with conventional building styles. These panels, in all honesty, weren't made for homes. They were made to be installed fast and to cover large areas on a building that typically didn't have windows. So anyway, just a few things to consider there. I did hear one horror story. You might check with your insurance company before you build. One person had a Barndominium put up and it wasn't insured because the insurance company said, well, you basically built a barn. We can't insure that as a living space. I think that one I didn't see that house. I just heard the story later. It's quite possible that they just did some really, really shoddy construction and the insurance company just didn't like it. But, buyer beware. These are not conventional.